Welcome to this explainer. If you're a business owner or manager trying to stay ahead of the curve, you're in the right place. Today, we're unpacking the weekly business news for June 8, 2026, and distilling the week's most critical updates into actionable insights. We're translating the news into strategies you can actually use to protect and grow your business. So, let's just get right into it.
Here's what we're looking at today. We'll start with the power of planning, move on to making AI actually work for you, hit some market updates on fuel and tariffs, and wrap up with consumer law and business relief. We're going from the internal strategies you control straight to the external rules you've got to navigate.
All right, Section 1, the power of planning and building that foundation for growth.
So, you've got the energy, you've got the great idea, maybe you even have those first loyal customers coming in. You might be looking at this and asking yourself, why on earth should I slow down to write a business plan? It's super common to think of these things as just, red tape, like just some annoying hoop a bank makes you jump through before they'll even glance at your loan application. But it's actually a vital, living document.
Look, a business plan isn't red tape. It's a highly practical tool. It literally forces you to sit down and answer the tough questions. Like, where exactly is your revenue coming from 12 months from now? Or what happens if your biggest client suddenly jumps ship? Getting it down on paper reveals those hidden assumptions you probably didn't even realize you were making. Plus, it gives your team a shared North Star, so everyone's rowing in the same direction, and it proves to investors that you know how to manage risk. But honestly, the best part is that it acts as an early warning system. If sales dip below your forecast, your plan gives you the baseline to spot it instantly and pivot.
The absolutely crucial takeaway here is this. Do not get overwhelmed. You don't need to write some massive 100-page thesis. You can literally just start with a single page. Map out your business model, who your target customers are, what gives you a competitive edge, and your key financial assumptions. That's the whole shebang to get started. From there, it becomes this living, breathing management tool that guides your day-to-day decisions. It helps you double down on what works and scrap what doesn't.
Okay, moving on to Section 2. Making AI work for you and moving past all the hype to actual, practical application.
£717 billion. I mean, wow! That staggering number is the recent valuation for Anthropic, the team behind the Claude chatbot. It perfectly captures the sheer, unbelievable hype and financial potential swirling around AI right now. But, with all this noise, it's incredibly easy for businesses to jump on the AI bandwagon just to say they're doing it, without having any real strategy.
But let's separate that hype from reality for a second. If you take AI and use it to automate a messy, poorly defined workflow, you don't magically get efficiency. You just get bad results way faster, right? Before you even think about touching an AI tool, you have to map out what your current processes actually look like. Because if your system is already broken, throwing a sophisticated algorithm at it isn't going to fix it. It's just going to accelerate the bottleneck.
So, to avoid flushing time and money down the drain, you've got to be pragmatic about this. Step 1. Define your objectives. Why do you actually want AI? Are you trying to shave hours off low-value tasks? Okay, then Step 2, like we just talked about, map those current processes before you automate a single thing. Step 3, start small and measure absolutely everything. Don't roll this out company-wide on day one. Run a pilot with one team and track concrete metrics like error rates dropping or specific hours saved. In Step 4, get your staff on board. Give them hands-on, practical training, let them know about the risks, like AI hallucinations, and really reassure them that the goal is to make their jobs easier, not to replace them.
The thing we have to remember is that AI doesn't have judgment. It can't take accountability, and it definitely doesn't understand your unique company culture. It has to be treated like any other major investment. That means you need clear ownership. Somebody in leadership has to own the AI strategy and keep a close eye on costs. You've got to review these tools regularly, maybe quarterly or twice a year, to make sure they're actually earning their keep. And most importantly, always keep human judgment in the loop for the big decisions. Shifting gears a bit, let's head into Section 3, market updates on fuel and tariffs, and how to navigate these external cost pressures.
11.3 pence. That is the historically high average fuel margin per liter that the Competition and Markets Authority, the CMA, called out in their April monitoring report. They found that even though wholesale costs and inventory pressures have somewhat leveled out, retailers are basically adopting passive pricing. In plain English, they aren't actively competing to win your business, and that is keeping prices artificially jacked up at the pump.
So because retail competition is so weak and those high prices are just stubbornly sticking around, CMA Chief Executive Sarah Cardell highlighted that tools like the Fuel Finder app are becoming absolutely essential. This app actually helps drivers compare prices through their navigation systems and can save up to £9 a tank. If you're managing a fleet or you've got a hefty travel budget, tapping into tools like this is pretty much a mandatory step right now to protect your logistics bottom line.
Now, on the flip side, trying to ease some of these broader supply pressures, the government is actually consulting on suspending tariffs across 125 everyday essentials. We're talking about everything from food staples like garlic, avocados, baked beans, and chocolate, all the way to critical agricultural inputs like fertilizers, which have just seen crazy price spikes recently. Depending on what sector you're in, these targeted tariff cuts could be a real game changer and significantly lower your supply chain costs.
All right, let's move into our final segment, Section 4, Consumer Law and Business Relief. We've got a pretty stark compliance warning here, followed by some welcome financial support. Let's talk about pressure selling. Recently, a high court order confirmed that the mattress retailer Emma Sleep broke consumer law. How? By using illegal tactics like misleading countdown timers, false high-demand messages, and completely fake urgency around discount claims. The CMA is cracking down on this stuff hard. It is now absolutely mandatory that your marketing claims are 100% accurate. If you run a countdown clock for a sale and that deal is still secretly available after the clock hits 0, that's illegal. And the authorities are absolutely no longer turning a blind eye to it.
And believe me, they have the teeth to back this up. Thanks to some sweeping new powers granted in April 2025, the CMA can now independently bypass the courts altogether to decide if you've broken the law. And here's the kicker. They can directly fine a company up to 10% of their global turnover for breaking consumer law. 10%! All while securing direct refunds for the affected customers.
They aren't wasting any time using these new powers either. The CMA has already launched 14 investigations. In fact, one recent probe into the AA resulted in a massive £4.2 million fine, plus over £750,000 in customer refunds. The message to businesses here is crystal clear. Get your house in order right now, or face the severe consequences. But I did promise to end on an encouraging note, so let's quickly look at some genuinely positive updates regarding business rates.
For you companies operating in England, the government has just updated the 2026 Supporting Small Business Relief Scheme. Backdated to April 1st, 2026, the big change here is that you no longer lose your eligibility just because of a change in ratepayer or a period where the property was vacant. This is a massive safety net for SMEs, really helping to cushion the blow of business rate increases even when you're going through a property transition.
Well, we have covered a lot of ground today. From the absolute necessity of just getting a simple business plan down on paper, to taking a pragmatic approach to AI, navigating stubborn fuel costs, and avoiding those massive new CMA fines. As you look at all these external pressures and weigh them against your internal opportunities, here is the ultimate question you have to answer to secure your company's future. Is your business merely reacting to the market, or are you actually planning for it?